In pursuit of stability, Türkiye revisits the global crisis and proposes new approaches. This video series sheds light on Türkiye's stabilizing role. As armed conflicts increase day by day, the world is now facing the worst refugee crisis since World War II. There are currently more than 84 million forcibly displaced people across the world. The climate change and associated displacement will only make it worse. The World Bank projects that the number of climate refugees will rise to 216 million in 2050. The Syrian civil war alone has created 6.7 million internally displaced persons and 6.6 million refugees. 5.6 million of those refugees are hosted by neighboring countries such as Turkey, Lebanon, and Jordan. But these countries aren't particularly the wealthiest. International community has singularly failed to share the burden of those neighboring countries while being the part of conflict through proxies. The president of the European Commission once said that these three countries are doing more for refugees than the European bloc. Türkiye is now hosting world's largest refugee population since 2014. According to the UNHCR data, there are now 3.7 million Syrians under temporary protection and over 330,000 refugees and asylum seekers under international protection. Türkiye is now both a transition and a destination country. Arab Spring and other unrests in different parts of the world made Türkiye a hub for many people. There is a recognizable increase in the number of Iraqis, Egyptians, Somalians, Afghans, and Pakistanis seeking asylum or at least a better life in Türkiye in recent years. Since the beginning of the Russian attacks on Ukraine, more than 70,000 Ukrainians were welcomed in Türkiye. In addition, Türkiye's humanitarian policy for displaced people further extends outside of its territories. Türkiye has considerably contributed to the safety, security, and development of Somalia by significantly increasing the self-reliance capacity of Somalian people. Indeed, Türkiye is amongst the largest humanitarian donors globally. On the other hand, 3 million people have been displaced multiple times and are now stuck in Idlib after the Assad regime advanced through northern Syria with the backing of Russia and Iran. While creating refugee flights in large numbers, those countries have provided neither asylum nor meaningful financial assistance to refugees. Likewise, the US, Russia, Iran, France and the UK also involved in the conflict but provided very little for refugees. People in Idlib now live in very dire conditions. Turkish government and NGOs are in the field to provide fundamental needs. However, there is still a lack of adequate burden sharing. Türkiye has been left alone in its endeavor to stop refugee-creating activities of Assad regime and Russia. While it was able to stop them to some extent by its own military operations to bring stability, the situation in Idlib is quite volatile. Although the conflict has been confined to some extent, a full-scale armed conflict may break out anytime soon. This could well mean that 3 million people will become refugees and head to Türkiye and Europe. Currently, Türkiye plays a key stabilizing role in refugee crisis in multiple ways. This includes preventing people to become refugees in places like Libya and Somalia by bringing certain stability to these countries, protecting and hosting refugees and asylum seekers from different parts of the world, and providing humanitarian assistance for internally displaced. This further serves for the security of Europe, where anti-immigrant sentiments are more visible in recent years. This has allegedly caused Angela Merkel and her party to lose power in Germany for admitting refugees and also led to the rise of Le Pen in France. But can Türkiye alone absorb such a large number of refugees? Turkish government has so far maintained its support to refugees while calling for an effective burden and responsibility sharing. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has been proposing to create a safe zone in northern Syria for the resettlement of refugees. Indeed, at least 497,000 people voluntarily returned to in Syria that has been cleared of terrorist organizations such as Daesh and the PKK. Erdogan advocates that a further 1 million refugees can return to safe areas in their countries if international assistance and cooperation provided. The projects that would provide Syrians with housing, education, health and other services have been shared with other countries. UNHCR officials often thank Türkiye for its strong partnership and care for refugees. But will the international community too step in to shoulder the burden of Türkiye in a fair and equitable manner?